Hey everybody, let's talk about the Chaffee. The Chaffee is a Tier 5, let's take a look at it on the tech tree, a Tier 5 light scout tank right here. It used to be a dead end, now it leads to the M41 artillery piece. I'm not quite sure if that's any better than being a dead end, but it is what it is. Its predecessor is the M5 Stuart, which also leads to the M7. The Chaffee is very expensive from a research price. As you can see, it's 55,000 and change experience research points. I'm not actually quite sure what you call it. I guess it's just experience. So it's 55,000 and change experience points to get into, making it as expensive as the Tier 7s. So it is quite a bit of a grind in the M5 to get there. The Chaffee has really no armor to speak of. You can see it right here. And considering in matchmaking, it is placed in Tier 7 to Tier 10. I don't think I've ever gotten anything lower than a Tier 7. Maybe somebody else has, but I've never been placed into a Tier 5 or Tier 6 match with this, to my recollection. So anyway, it has no armor to speak of. You should assume anytime somebody shoots at you, it's going right through. The gun is very nice. It comes with two guns, the 57 and 50, or I'm sorry, the 75 and 76, dyslexia in action. And both are not bad. The starting gun is pretty nice. In fact, let's take a look at them in a bit more detail. So the starting gun will pen 96 millimeters with standard ammo, doing 110 damage. With armor piercing ammo. The 76 gun pens 137, doing 115 damage. So as you can see, the damage doesn't really increase, but the pen is pretty nice. The accuracy is certainly not bad at all, 0.39. The aiming time, 1.7 for the high-end gun. Rate of fire is 18, certainly not that bad. So you can certainly, in Tier 10 battles, it might be a little tough to get good penetrations on anything. If you're in a Tier 7 battle, usually if you can get side shots, you can do some damage. But the Chaffee's main role, I think, is to hide and spot. It has an excellent view range. Let's see if we can see that here. 400 meters with the upgraded turret. The starting turret has 370, so 400 meters with the final turret, which is what we see here. I have coated optics. I did start out with binoculars, but with the fact that you're at 400 already and the maximum you can get is 500, I think optics is better. Plus, you can spot on the move better, so you can kind of see people that you are moving into before sooner than you would with binoculars. So I have coated optics on this. I also have improved ventilation to give me a bit more view range. As far as the crew, one thing I'd recommend is when you get a Chaffee, probably you want your commander to have Sixth Sense already. That would probably prevent a lot of one-shot deaths from people that you didn't see until it was too late. So as you can see, none of my perks are ready on the crew yet. I am working on this, and I know I can have another perk here while I'm leveling up until Sixth Sense. So I know that, I just haven't gotten around to switching it. So most of the crew is training camouflage, and as you can see, I have camo on here and a camo net. Most of the crew is training camouflage. I have Sixth Sense going for the commander and situational awareness for the radio operator. The second set of perks, I will probably train whatever gives the commander enhanced view range, and then camo for the radio operator. Because you want to be hiding as much as possible. Almost like a submarine, you know, the Chaffee should hide with pride. So your primary role is to spot people at long distance without necessarily being spotted yourself. Contrasting this to, let's say, the ELC. Where the ELC, you want to run out, get into the enemy, and zoom around while trying to avoid enemy fire. The Chaffee is more of a passive scout where you want to move into cover with a good vantage point, spot as many people as you can without being spotted yourself, preferably from long range, taking advantage of the Chaffee's view distance, and basically stay as unobtrusive as possible. The Chaffee has okay speed. It's not nearly as fast as the ELC. It has decent speed to get into position. I don't think it's necessarily fast enough to evade enemy fire like you possibly could in the ELC. And I think that is pretty much it. Let's take another look at the research, see if there's anything else. Obviously, you want the best radio as possible. And, obviously you want to level everything up. It's pretty straightforward. And then, as I said, it leads to artillery. Woohoo. So, that's pretty much it, I think. So let's go back here. So let's see some games, I guess. So I went over the modules I have. I have the standard fire extinguisher, repair kit, and first aid kit on here. I don't have any premium ammo. Oh, one other thing to talk about is the Chaffee is not going to be a moneymaker for you. Fully upgraded like it is, it costs upwards of 9,000 credits to replace, which is very expensive. Chances are good that if you get destroyed, you're not going to make 9,000 credits in any individual game. You could, but you'd have to be really good or really lucky, and I'm not really good, and I'm only occasionally really lucky. So this is not going to be a big moneymaker for anyone. If you can live through a battle, you might make some money, but if you're in a tier 10 battle with a tier 5 tank, the odds are stacked against you. So anyway, let's see some games. Hey everybody, welcome to the world of tanks. Today we are doing the Chaffee on, this is the Murovanka map. Excuse me as I choke, sorry. I did want to do some videos on the Chaffee, but I wanted to be worthy of the tank. The Chaffee is a very difficult tank to play, if I do say so myself. It's a tier 5 tank and is very nice, but as you can see in this map, or in this game rather, it gets into some pretty tough matchmaking. For example, this is a tier 9 battle. So what I've done here is I found a nice hill with a good field of view, not too close to any enemies, and I've kind of set up to do like a little lookout and kind of stay here and see what comes at me. So I don't have Sixth Sense on this tank yet, so I can't be entirely sure whether I'm spotted or not, but you can usually tell based upon if tanks are looking at you or not, because then they're probably going to shoot you. So I'm going to camp out here on this hill for the beginning of this game and then kind of see what develops. As I said, it gives me a good field of view all the way to the north into the middle of the map. As you can see in the mini-map, I'll blow it up here. I have a mod here that shows the view range. So I can see how far I can see in the tank, and then that red line is also the render distance from the game. Now the dotted orange line isn't entirely accurate. That takes into account, as far as I can tell, the tank's base view range, which is 400 meters, plus coded optics, which would be 440 meters. However, it doesn't seem to take into account the perks that I'm training for the crew. So I have an extended view range for the loader, and I don't think that is taken into account. I could be wrong. I had binoculars on this tank earlier before I put coded optics on, and I can tell you the binoculars were not taken into account either. When they activated, you did not see a bump in the line. So as you can see, there are tanks all around me. I don't think anyone's spotted me yet, because you can kind of see they're never looking directly at me, even though they could have a clear field of fire. I'm also not firing because I don't want to disclose my position. I think it's more valuable as a scout that I stay here and spot. So that guy is certainly low, but with a tier 9 heavy, you're never going to be sure that you can penetrate, even from a side shot like that. So at one point in time, someone's going to ask me to go to the east side and go into the forest. But I'm going to stay camped on this hill as long as I can because it seems to be a pretty good spot for viewing the tanks. And I have good cover here as no one's seen me. Yeah, here's the ISU 152 asking me to go scout the forest. So I'm just going to stay here because I don't want to move because that would light me up as well. So as you can see, it's still pretty even battle. And there's a number of high-tier heavies all around me. So I'm just trying to hide with pride, as I would say. So fulfilling my role as a scout. So I don't think anybody else is in a position to light these tanks up, so I do think I'm filling a valuable role here. Sometimes with the Scout, it's a little bit hard to tell. But also with the Chaffee, you're basically one-shot material for a lot of tanks on the field, so you have to be very careful where you go, and I think it pays to be cautious. Because you're trying to do a passive Scout, not active Scout where you're just zipping around tanks and making it hard for them to hit you. I think an active scouting role with a Chaffee leads to a very short lifetime, just because you're not fast enough or low enough, like the ELC AMX, to avoid enemy fire. So this T-26 rolls up on me right now, and I can tell I'm going to be lit. So you can see me back away from the hill. I assume I'm lit right now, which is probably a safe assumption. So I kind of back away from the contact, and you can see I get shot right there. And I head east for the prior, in part because I had been previously requested to scout over here, so I figure that's a good way to break contact and then resume a scouting roll. So as you can see, I'm still drawing enemy fire, and I've been hit twice, and basically I'm almost dead. Still drawing enemy fire. So I go back here to hide out and hopefully break contact with the enemy. And then we're going to venture into the forest, I believe. So, as I had said previously, the Chaffee's armor is not really good for stopping anything, so you should consider it essentially unarmored. There's really no... I mean, if you get a bounce, you're lucky. So, even in against Tier 5s, you can be penned pretty easily. And obviously, Tier 7, 8, and above, you're pretty much easy target for getting hit. Now, I could stop here and try to cap, however, I don't think that would end well. So, you can see me work my way to the center of the map to try and light people up. And I'm taking a more active role here, trying to get behind this Ferdinand and do a little bit of damage. So, tank destroyers are good pickings for the Chaffee, if you can get behind them. I've had, what was it, like a Jad Panther. I got behind it, and it actually backed up, pushing my Chaffee sideways halfway across the map. Not in this game, though. But it's pretty funny. You're just sitting there pelting them in the back while they try and get you off. I should be aiming for the fuel tank here, I think. But it's good enough shooting in the side. So here I am, the hero Chaffee, which kind of leads to a short lifetime. And there it is. So I did manage to take somebody out, got somebody else blown up on the forest. So this is a pretty even game. And as you see, I get a compliment from the ISU 152, which is always nice. So, unfortunately, yeah, as I said before, I wasn't going to be moving off the hill. Unfortunately, we don't win this game, so let's move on to the next battle. Although this game does come down to the wire, I think we've seen the good parts. Hey everybody, we're back in the Chaffee on Erlenberg, and I'm going to make my way up north and scout out these hills in anticipation of getting some contacts up here. So unlike many battles, this is a Tier 7 battle, which is probably as good as you can expect in the Chaffee. And I actually have other Tier 5s and actually a couple Tier 4s in here to keep me company. You notice the other team doesn't have any tier 4s, just us. So matchmaking certainly plays some favorites some of the time. But anyway, so this is about as good as a matchup as you can expect. And I'm just kind of lighting up the tanks and popping back down. I assume I'm lit right now, so I'm not hanging out up there. Just kind of doing, peekaboo tactics. You can see a Hero M5 Stuart moving up on the team. Take a pot shot at that Jackson, which doesn't hit. And there's a bigger tank behind me, which I should probably get out of the way for. And AT-7, that's not an easy target to penetrate. So I'm going to work my way north a little bit, see if I can get a view here. I see a Hellcat, which I certainly don't want to get shot by. So unlike the previous game, you can see I'm not hidden right now. I'm kind of more actively involved in the battle, which is probably not what you want to try for. But here, just taking advantage of the cover to try and avoid getting shot, popping out. This gun is pretty accurate when you're moving, although I've missed several shots. You can see the accuracy is not bad. So you can kind of fire on the go at short to medium range engagements. There's a little Comet way down on the side, and he took out our guy. So I'm kind of setting up behind this hill, trying to stay out of the range of the Hellcat and the other guys that are up there. Here come some bigger tanks to move in. Shot went behind here. My accuracy is not especially good here. And you can actually see the turn rate of the tank sometimes outstrips the rotation rate of the turret. The tank's that agile. So here that guy's stuck, tracked, and I'm just picking on him. Take myself out of the shot, and he's a 1%er right now, and somebody else cleans him up. But we're doing pretty good at this battle. But you can't emphasize how cautious you have to be in this tank, because you're basically just a walking target. And other people know that. They know that you're not going to bounce anything, so if they're going to shoot at anybody, they're probably going to shoot at you. So now we're able to break contact with the enemy and hopefully get into more of a passive scouting role. Hopefully. There's an AT-2, which I don't think I'm going to... now I'm not passively scouting anymore. I'm lit. So 2 ATs up there, neither of which I really am thrilled about shooting at. So I'm just going to try and keep them lit and hopefully let the other people on my team move up, making sure that T-21 can't shoot me in the rear. And I'll just kind of sneak up from house to house as I can against the 2 tank destroyers that are there. So you can see that AT-7's taking nice fire from our friend. And take an opportunity to bounce a shot. And you'll see me work up here along this road, just going from house to house. Making my way up to the bridge in an attempt to keep these guys lit. I know I could / should be aiming for the coupler, but I'm just kind of taking shots of opportunity. The AT-2 tags me once again. Making sure there's nobody behind me. And that AT-2's tucked in behind a house across the river. So we're doing pretty good this game, 9-3. So we got this game easily in hand. Just a question not getting yourself killed doing something dumb. He gets hit pretty good by somebody. And you can see we have a couple tanks lined up to cross the bridge. So I think I'm going to try and sneak my way over and get as close as I can. Let's see, he's tucked right in there. He's tracked. You see a shot to the cupola, and actually I get lucky and take him out. So now the way is clear. So this tank, the AT-7 almost blocks the bridge, but not quite. I wonder if, like, a big heavy tank, just out of curiosity, got themselves killed intentionally while sideways across the bridge, if that would really shut down the bridge for the remainder of the game. So now we're doing some arty hunting. You can see me, I just changed to HE in part to do more damage to artillery. But you'll see here that most of my shots don't penetrate, so in second thought, I'd probably just keep armor piercing loaded. I think that one penetrated. I'm not sure, but this one does not. It just explodes on the outside, and the second one, or the third one, does not. And somebody else kills him. So I thought AT would, or high explosive would help, but I think armor piercing is really, you just stick with that. As you can see, I don't have any premium ammo on this tank. This tank costs enough to just run by itself, so I don't try to add to the cost by using premium ammo. Well, that's it for this game. We won that one. Let's try another one. Hey everybody, we're on the Lakeville map now, and I am moving out to the city. This is not the encounter battle, so most of the heavier units typically end up in the valley, and the lighter units go to the city. So I start out kind of scouting the lake and the city. This lake is just big enough that I can't see to the far side, which annoys me whenever I'm a scout tank on this map. And invariably I get lit when I'm here, so I'm trying to stay low and in cover while I try and scout across the far side. As you can see on the mini-map, what my view range approximately is, I think it's actually a little bit bigger than this because I don't think this mod takes crew skills into account. I could be wrong. So I always assume I can see a bit further than it's marked on here, which gives me a little bit of visibility onto the North Shore. So there's a couple guys coming down the road. I'm trying to keep lit. I think they're behind the rocks, so they disappeared. No contact in the city as of yet. And as I said, I don't really think I'm needed in the valley. There's really not much to scout there, and there's already a light tank there. So I figure I can best be used here where there's a lot of ground to cover, and I can use my view range to my advantage. So there's a little leopard there. Actually, that's the tier 9 leopard, so he's not so little. See, my shot goes through really nicely. Even though this is a tier 5 tank, it has a really nice gun. It doesn't do huge damage, but it pens well.
Critical hit.
So I probably just damaged that guy's track. So I often wondered, does damaging a track really do anything other than making the track easier to destroy, I guess? I don't think it really slows you down, does it? I'm not sure. If anybody knows, please let me know. So kind of keeping my eye out. Obviously, I can't light the tanks that are inside the city, but sometimes people will come down the shore, and that's kind of what I'm looking for. And the leopard, I think, is dead that was on that road before. So we're going to head into the city and see what we can do. So as you can see, they brought several heavy tanks. I think I counted 4 on the mini-map in there, and I think we only have 2 here. So we might be a bit outgunned, although we have a large number of other tanks to help out. So I'm going up on the very east side of the map with the boundary to my right, trying to stay out of any crossfires. And that comet, well, that comet's dead, but he was behind the building anyway. And here I go into hero mode, scooting past the church and into the cover of the far side. And I see there's an IS-3 here. So he's kind of a tough cookie, so I'm trying to figure out which way he's facing now. And I can just see that his turret is facing the other way, so this gives me a bit of an opportunity. So I'm shooting right into the back of his turret. I think he actually has his front to me of the hull, so I go for rear turret shots, and as you can see, works out pretty well. And there's a Sherman or no, that's an M103. It's not a Sherman. M103 down there. He's perhaps a tough nut to take on. So I'm kind of over here biding my time, just kind of seeing if anybody's looking my way. So if somebody's looking your way, you definitely don't want to pop out. And I see on the mini-map, you can see that the other Chaffee has kind of broken through on the map and is down there kind of heading towards our base. And as you can also see, our Valley team have not done especially well, and you can see the heavies moving on the base. So I decided to fall back, in part to chase the Chaffee and in part to do whatever I can to help out the base defense. So I kind of imagine this like Highlander, like there can only be one Chaffee in the game. So I get him on the move with a semi-lucky shot. As you can see, I haven't taken any damage yet so far this game, which is surprising / good. So I'm going to kind of sneak my way in. The anti-tank guy that was a K2 is now dead. So you can see we have a couple mediums and myself going back to the base. We actually have an advantage, 11-9 on this map. We can see there's some heavies there. So I'm trying to reset. And reset as best I can. So I'm waiting for the mediums to catch up. And I'm not going to last that long against the firepower of those tanks. And you can see they're firing at the mediums right now. Now I'm starting to attract some fire. And I think what I should be doing is trying to pull their fire away from the mediums as best I can. So after hanging out here, one of the mediums just went down. You'll see me make a run to their flank, which actually I probably should have done earlier. So here I go. Take a hit, which almost kills me. And then I tuck in behind the water tanks here. The other medium goes down, so pretty much it's a lost cause. Even though we had good, we still have an advantage in kills. I'm trying to fire to the flanks to do some resets, and that's pretty much it. And as you can see, they cap right about now. So even when you have a good game, you can't always win, but I think this was noteworthy. Certainly, you know, picking the times to engage and making sure you're not the target of enemy fire is what you want to do if you're not just flat out hiding, which I did in the first game. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you have any comments or advice, please let me know.